All right, Red Zone Room is back once again here with tailgate and pick and spreads for the first time in a while since we ditched tailgate the last few weeks. But we're gonna go through our week
Yeah.
one recap. We're just gonna hit all the games, give give our takeaways from the games, our opinions on the teams. Probably get into some fantasy player impact stuff like that, maybe some pickups. But we will start it off with whatever. We'll start off with the Bucks Cowboys on Thursday night. So whoever wants to lead with that.
I'll take it away. Both quarterbacks were good. Dak was good. Brady was good. I mean, after rewatching the, or not rewatching the game, after watching the game, I just kind of had the thought in my mind: have we been overrating the Bucks defense a little bit?
I think slightly. I think we all got enamored by the idea of all 22. I did too, just for the record. I loved that whole thing about like all 22 starters being back. So like, I then thought the defense is going to be just as good, if not better, than it was last year. And I'm not going to say that the defense can't be as good as it was last year because it's the Cowboys offense when it's fully healthy. Well, minus Zach Martin, but that's a almost fully healthy Cowboys offense. And a lot of people think that they're top 3 in the NFL in offense. So it's not like the Bucks got, massacred by a Patriots offense or something. I mean, it was a great offense, but yeah, I think we were overrating it a little bit.
It's not even just the defense in general. It's just the secondary. Like, I understand, I get it. And I'm probably gonna make a TikTok over it soon, but I got banned for a day, so I can't. But overall, it's the front seven is very, very good. Devin White, he's improving. I still don't think he's there yet, but he's improving. Levante David is great. Sue, JPP, Shaq, Barrett, Vita Vea looks unguardable. The front seven is great. It's just their secondary
I've always thought that was just an average secondary, honestly.
Yeah, like it's
I mean,
not
they don't really
that
have any standout guys.
see, and it's not that like I get it. It's the Cowboys offense, but Dak still threw 400 yards coming off an ACL tear. And this is the best defense in the league shouldn't allow 400 passing yards. So I kind of have the mindset
Nobody
that maybe
thinks they're the best defense in the league. Do people think that?
the Bucks. I mean, before the game, probably.
I thought the Rams were.
I think a lot of people said the Bucks would win.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just me. I have no idea.
I think they're top 5. I didn't think they were 1 though. But look, if people are thinking that, then I mean that's kind of a wake up call. It's like no, they're not. Because like yeah, that secondary is kind of a liability, especially with Sean Murphy Bunting out for at least 3 weeks. But yeah, I mean it's a passers league, and if your secondary is lacking, then you're already at a much bigger disadvantage. So I don't know. I thought the Bucks they played a good game. I didn't think it was going to be as close as it was, because I thought the Cowboys would have, I thought the Cowboys would have stuck with them in the first half, and then just Bucks were just taking it in the second half. That didn't happen. The Cowboys actually were supposed to win that game. But yeah, I think if anything, I think this helped the Cowboys stock out a lot. They should be regarded, especially with Fitzpatrick out for the year, they should be regarded as the favorites to win the NFC East. They should be. I don't think Taylor Heineke
led. Come on now,
dude. A Taylor Heineke led Washington football team is not going to. I don't think they're going to challenge the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys should be the favorites, especially with the showing we saw from the Giants on Sunday. And I think the Eagles game was a fluke. It's Atlanta. Let's not overreact here. So, yeah, I think the Cowboys should be the favorites.
Yeah, my takeaways from that game were number 1, Dak is back. Look great. Clearly top 10. Hopefully the idiots, I don't think he's top 10. Hopefully he can prove them wrong this year and stay healthy. Another thing I thought was don't panic on Zeke. I'm not saying as an NFL running back, he's obviously not the same, but for fantasy, he didn't get his volume. It was a bad game script for him. I don't think it's going to be like that in the future. He's going to be fine, so I would buy low on Zeke right now for fantasy. I think Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are clearly going to be amazing fantasy options this year. And I think honestly, how the Bucks receivers went for like a fantasy perspective, I think that's going to be similar like that all year. I've said all year that AB is going to lead that team in targets. Chris Godwin, I've never had a problem. Like, he should be a solid wide receiver. And Mike Evans is going to have his games. But for the most part, if Mike Evans is not scoring a touchdown, then he's useless in fantasy. And I've never personally – I mean, I literally had him ranked outside of my top 30 for wide receivers.
Yeah,
never wanted to touch him. And then Tom Brady looked like an MVP candidate. So,
do you think Tom Brady can win MVP this year?
I do not think he will.
I don't think he will, but I think he can. But if I'm going to put money on someone, I put money on Mahomes, Russ, Kyler.
My money's on Kyler. I think Kyler's going to win it. He's been my pick since like March. I thought Kyler was destined for a big year.
When you proved it week 1.
Yeah. Oh my God. How many was it? 4 touchdowns? 5 touchdowns? 5, right?
5 touchdowns in 3 quarters.
Yeah. I mean, he's ridiculous. And especially to do that against the Titans. I'm not saying the Titans defense necessarily because I've been very low on them this entire offseason, but just to do it against the Titans in general, I thought was pretty big. And I think, honestly, the Cardinals' defensive showing was as impressive as Kyler Murray's offensive showing. Just because, like, look, we talk about the Cowboys' offense being ridiculous. We compare them to the Titans' offense. That's how good and highly regarded the Titans' offense is supposed to be. So if you're the Cardinals and you suppress them to 13 points, I think it was. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, their offense was incapable of moving down the field at all. So I just thought that was remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, I guess since we have randomly moved on to that game, I guess we're done with the other one. But yeah, Chandler Jones. Holy crap! What do you have? 5 sacks? Like, did he have 2 forced?
5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and he had 3 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 forced fumble in the first quarter.
Jesus. I'm getting kind of mad though because Kyler was my pick all offseason, and now that he had an amazing first week, everyone else is making him their pick too, and I'm like, well.
I know.
Hopefully people remember that. Like, I called that. Like,
oh yeah, no, I'm probably gonna duet that thing in 3 weeks when he's like the front runner. I'm gonna duet it from when I posted it in March, just so people remember.
Yeah, but then I just don't panic about the Titans or anything, but I still would say this was a little bit of a wake up call just for all the people that think they're going 14-3, 13-4. I have heard a lot of that in the offseason. The minute they get Julio, people change their opinions from going 7-10 to 14-3. Like, that's a little ridiculous. Obviously, it's a little rusty. The chemistry wasn't there yet. They're gonna get the hang of it. But the defense, I mean, like I said, Cardinals have a great offense, and it's just 1 week. But if that's any indication of how that defense is going to play the rest of the year, that is a 9-8 football team at best, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for 49ers takes so far, because we have like virtually I'd say like 90% of our takes are pretty similar. At the beginning, like last year they weren't, but this year we've actually had pretty similar ones. But we were fading the Titans all off season, and week 1 is the biggest week where like teams will just completely do the opposite of what they might do for the rest of the season. But if this is any indication of what the Titans are for the rest of the year, there is reasonable doubt for this team. I think the Cardinals, they're a great team, but I think the Cardinals are a team where you should not be blown out. Like, you shouldn't be turning the channel on this team in the third quarter. That's what I did. Like, I turned this game off in the third quarter just because of how lopsided it was. And you should not be doing that when people were literally, like 440 said, people were predicting this team to go 14-3. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's top of the AFC numbers. So that's just crazy to me.
Buckle up, because as a Cardinals fan, I was speechless the entire game. I thought Kyler would have a big year. No, I didn't think MVP because I thought, let's wait another year. Let's see if we can get a new coach. You know what? As much as I hate Cliff Kingsbury, I gotta give him credit. He called a fantastic game. We finally have a playmaker who can run those stupid screen passes that he loves, Rondo Moore. Wow, was he electric. Holy cow. Yeah. Showed it a little bit in the preseason. I was like, that's preseason. Let's wait till the regular season. First screen play, just runs about 15, 20 yards, just gets past everyone. And he's so small, it's hard to tackle him, kind of like Kyler. Kyler was unbelievable that game. 4 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 rushing touchdown. And before, he was like 60 – no, not 60. He was like actually might have been 60 feet away from the end zone, and he just lifted the ball in the air because he knew he was going to score because that's how fast he is. But Kyler was he was ridiculous that game. I get it's the Titans defense. I'm not going to sit here and call him the MVP. I'm going to stick with my pick. My pick was Patrick Mahomes. But I have to give Cliff Kingsbury credit. I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, I'm stuttering because I can't believe I have to say this. Cliff called a great game. Kyler balled out. The defense may have a case to be better. Julio Jones, 3 catches for 29 yards.
They looked out of sync. He was
29 yards.
I have him in fantasy, so I was watching him pretty closely.
I was watching him too.
He was getting open. I think they were just a little out of sync. I mean, remember, Julio was hurt for virtually the entire preseason, so they couldn't really get the timing right. Give them a few weeks, and I think that'll be a really good duo, and the Titans will get their money worth with Julio Jones. So just give it a few weeks, and I think they'll get their act together. But don't sell on Julio Jones just for fantasy.
No, don't. Actually, speaking of Julio, a tweet came out recently. Mike Vrabel in a press conference, an interview, he called out Julio Jones for doing a lot of stupid on the field, and he called him out for it. Yeah, he was pissed off at him. So hopefully that doesn't ruin some chemistry down the line. I mean, it didn't with the Bucs, but I think it'll help. Kind of the Bucs, but anyway, Chandler Jones he might win Defensive Player of the Month off this one game alone.
He probably will. 5
sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 tackles for loss against a very good tackle, Taylor Lewan.
Yeah.
I understand he's coming off an ACL tear, but still. That's ridiculous against a guy like that. 7 pressures. That's what Chandler Jones does. He may not have a ton of pressures, but if he gets a pressure, more than half the time he's going to get the sack, which is kind of crazy to look at. But he's just a sack machine. Isaiah Simmons had a great game. His passer rating allowed because I just did a podcast recently. But Isaiah Simmons' passer rating allowed that game was about 42.5. He was great that game. Zaven Collins was not good in coverage at all, but I didn't expect him to be. Great run defender, though, for that game. He had a PFF grade, I believe, of 92 when it came to the run game, just absolutely stuffing Derrick Henry. J.J. Watt, I mean, once again, he wasn't the great pass rusher. He stuffed Derrick Henry. Like, that's all I can ask for. I mean, I don't really want him to be rushing the passer that often when Chandler Jones decides that he's going to become God himself. But at the end of the day, I just can't say many negatives. And I know, like, oh, well, you're not going to say negatives because you're a Cardinals fan. Tell me.
No, you can't.
What negatives happened in that? The only negative I can think of is Matt Prater missed like a 39-yard field goal. I don't expect him to miss more. This is a very solid kicker. Literally outside of that, and the one pick that Kyler threw, I can't name anything else. Like, they just went to Tennessee, being the underdogs, and just punched them in the mouth. And that's basically what they did. I can't say anything else.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go Bills and Steelers, which was a surprise to a lot of people. And I'm going to keep on repeating this phrase. It's just week 1. It's tough to like evaluate off of just 1 week. But I was one of the people that predicted the Steelers at 9-8, 10-7, and I got people going all up in my comments. Dude, they're winning like 5 or 6 games. That always irritated me because it's like people just forgot about how good that defense was. I mean, this is a defense who just shut down the Bills' offense, which is a great offense. The Steelers looked like the best offense in the league this week. Just 1 week, but I think this is a little bit of an indication that they're not going 5-12. They can contend for the playoffs. I still don't think that they're going to be in the playoffs just because how good the AFC is, how tough their schedule is. It's a brutal schedule. But I think they can keep up with it and hang around 500 or so. Something interesting to me is Najee Harris did not miss one offensive play. So for the people panicking about Najee and fantasy, don't panic. He's going to be fine. Bad game script. Went against a pretty improved D-line in the Bills. He's going to be fine. He's going to have plenty of volume, plenty of touchdowns. Buy low on him if you can. And as for the Bills,
I'm buying him in all my leagues. 100%.
As for the Bills, I'm not worried. I'm not really worried, honestly. They played a great defense. They looked a little rusty. I expect them to be fine. Josh Allen is getting a lot of hate right now, saying last year was a one and done or like a fluke type of year. The talent is there. That's just, in my opinion, like it's hard to just see that disappear, especially coming off of what are they, like a 12-4 year, whatever they were last year, AFC Championship. He looked great.
The people that say that he's a one and done are the same people that didn't watch the game. If you watch the game, he didn't look bad, but he didn't look good. I'm not going to say
he just looked out of sync.
He just looked out of sync. I agree.
I just remember that was one because I was at the Colts game yesterday, so I could not watch any of the games, but I've got on Game Pass and I've been going back and watching all these games. And I watched the Bills and Steelers one. And Allen, I mean, there was just nothing open for the Bills. I thought the play calling was a little weird. I think we saw that weird 4th and 1 7-yard loss. That was a weird play call, but there was just really nothing open for him. He was kind of scrambling around the whole time. There were a few weird throws. I thought he had Emmanuel Sanders open for like a 60-yard touchdown. He overthrew him by like 10 yards, but he's going to be fine.
I'm not worried about them at all. I still have them going 14-3. And actually, this was the one game where I almost put 13-4 on because I'm like, this defenses, and I don't know. Tough defenses always give me a tough time. Like I was having a really hard time with Washington when I was predicting games because I'm like, Washington could really go head to head against anybody. And that goes really any top 5 defense. But yeah, I'm not too worried. Again, you need to also take into consideration Ben was like really good early on in the year last year too. I mean, like he was like first 6-7 games. I'm not saying he was a Pro Bowler, but he was probably like a top 15 quarterback. And then he burned out because he's like 39 years old and he doesn't train anymore. So I think I think the same thing is going to happen this year. And look, they ran a really conservative playbook. They didn't make Big Ben, do anything crazy. They just made him do 5-6 yard checkdowns. They just tried to win the time battle. What's it called? Can't speak English right now. Time of possession. Thank you. That's all they tried to do. They just tried to win the defensive battle, and they did. And honestly, I think it was just a really good game plan. I'm not worried about the Bills whatsoever. Just want to reiterate everything that 447.
Big Ben sucks, though.
Go buy his merch.
Go buy the merch.
Go buy
I love, guys. You guys know how much we make fun of Daniel Jones and Big Ben. I think making fun of Big Ben has now become more fun than making fun of Daniel Jones because I do think that there are more people starting to come around on the fact that Daniel Jones sucks. But my God, no one. I mean, because
no one.
I mean, I will just troll Big Ben for no reason. I just posted a clip today of him making one little overthrow, and I was talking about how washed he is. The comments are so funny, dude. Like,
I know.
Oh, we got the win. What else do you want? He looked bad. I will say he didn't look good in that game. They won. The defense won. Not that Big Ben sucked, but he didn't look like a good quarterback to me in that game.
Yeah, again, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot. I just am going to say what I said earlier. I don't know. Like an average of 5.9 yards per attempt. Like, again, like 5-yard drag routes. That's all I did the entire game. Don't sell Najee Harris. Najee is going to be a beast this year. It was just just wasn't a good game script. I don't know. Neither offense could really get anything going. All that much. Don't worry about it though.
All right, let's go to the Chiefs Browns. Whoever wants to start that one.
I'll start it off. So the debate now between Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes is now gone. There's no debate for it at all. Patrick Mahomes was unbelievable in the second half against the Browns. Once again, he was down 22-10, and he came back and beat them. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, had a great game against the Browns. Over 70% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Increasing his number in September. I think now he'd be up to 36 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the month of September. He's unbelievable. But I think the Chiefs did get exposed a little bit. Just a little bit, and that's maybe just because if a team is good enough to cover Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, Mahomes is kind of screwed because I don't think McCole Hardman is that guy to be that wide receiver number
2. What team can guard those two?
Exactly.
You can't guard both.
Can't take 2 guys away.
Maybe Tampa.
No.
Maybe Denver. Maybe
we just
Denver.
got off saying that Tampa has an awful secondary. Why are they going to
Levante David? But Levante David locked down Travis Kelce pretty easily, though.
Okay, who's going to lock down Tyreek Hill? That's what we're saying. You can't.
Three pieces.
Okay, we all know the Super Bowl, but Tyreek Hill did put up 250 yards and like 3 touchdowns against Tampa Bay last year.
Yeah, I think it was almost 300.
Denver. I think Denver has a chance. Denver has a chance, maybe, but no.
I don't think Denver has the experience to do it.
That is fair. But no. Anyway, I still think though, if a team does somehow lock both of them down, which I agree, it is going to be hard. But if a team doesn't, Mahomes is kind of screwed. And I thought the run game would look a lot better. I get it. They face Cleveland. Cleveland has a very good defensive line.
I don't think it's hard. I think it's impossible.
Someone can do it. Someone's going
to do it. No, I
season.
don't think anyone can. He's the second best tight end in the league and arguably the second best receiver in the league.
I get it.
I would say the only time we've seen,
if it happens,
the only time we've seen anything.
Tyreek Hill is the most dominant player in the NFL.
The only time we've seen anything close to Kelce and Hill getting guarded is the Super Bowl, and that was basically just the O-line getting destroyed, Mahomes having no.
Yeah,
we've never.
They didn't get guarded. They got open.
Teams go into the next week saying, "Let's guard Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce," but
exactly.
I get it. But no. Anyway, though, continuing on the game, though, Patrick Mahomes was unbelievable. Like I said, the Browns. I talked about it on my podcast. Baker sold very, very badly on the Browns. They had a chance to win it, and he just sold on them. And so did the Browns. I think Baker was very good. Baker was very good in the game, but when it mattered the most in clutch time, Baker sold on the Browns.
I feel bad. I don't.
3 and outs.
I feel bad. I personally feel bad for
4 3 and outs. Like in 4 possessions, they had 3 and outs.
Yeah, they only put up 1 touchdown in the second half. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's without time
on the last possession when Baker threw a pick. I felt bad for him because he was just trying to throw it away and he got knocked. And so it looked like he threw a game-losing interception, but he was really just trying to throw it away. Someone came from behind him and tripped him up. I kind of felt bad for him. I think they had a chance to score there.
Yeah, but look, I said this last year. I said this. I think I said the year before too. To beat Kansas City, you need to play 4 quarters. You need to play 4 quarters where you get a grade of a 90 or above. And I think for the Browns, they got a 98 in the first quarter. They got a 95 in the second quarter. And then the third quarter, they got like an 82. In the fourth quarter, they got like a 74. I mean, you need to get 90, 90, 90, 90 if you're going to beat the Chiefs. That was what the Bucs did in the Super Bowl. They didn't let up. That was the big thing is like at halftime, I think it was like a 1 or like a 1.5 score game. It was like a 10-point game, I think, at halftime. And I'm like, okay. But we also saw Patrick Mahomes come back from 24-0 or whatever it was against the Texans the year before in the playoffs. The Bucs need to do what they did in the first half again. And they did. They played 4 quarters. And the Browns didn't. And we see time and time again these teams get big leads on the Chiefs, but then they run out of all their good plays. All their plays that they had planned that entire week, they run out. And then they can't get any offense going, and the Chiefs just pounce all over them. So I think that happened this time too. Honestly, I don't really think this game told a whole lot. I think we already knew everything we needed to know about the Chiefs. If they get down, they're not out unless you can play 4 straight quarters. And the Browns clearly couldn't. And honestly, I think it speaks to their inexperience. I think it speaks to Baker Mayfield's inexperience because he hasn't been there. Last year he was there and he screwed it up. So every time he's been there, he's lost. He doesn't know how to finish games. He hasn't finished a game. So I don't think that game really told a whole lot. I think it just told us the Chiefs are a really good football team. And that offensive line needs help. That's it.
If I'm a Cleveland fan, though, I'm not too mad at this game. I think they showed a lot of promise. I think they're the 4th best team in the league right now.
They have a case for number 3 after. I mean, who do you have at number 3?
They don't.
I have the Rams at 3. I like the Rams.
Rams are 3.
Come
on.
Dude,
oh, my God.
I don't
know. Cardinals fan.
What do you mean? No, I had the Rams at 4. But no, I think.
Dude, oh, my God. The Rams are better on defense, and they're better on offense. And they have the better quarterback. And they have a better coach. They have a better coach, too. I take McVay over Stefanski. They have a better coach, quarterback, overall offense, and overall defense.
When I look at the team, who has the more complete team? Who has the better roster?
The Rams.
The Cleveland Browns. The Browns have the
Rams.
better roster. The Browns. Are you kidding me? They were way more complete. They're arguably the second most complete team in the league behind the Bucs.
I don't care about completion.
I don't know. I don't know. The Rams are more complete, I think. They're more proven and more complete. And I think
How are they more complete?
The Browns linebackers struggled against Kansas City, dude.
The Rams are just the better team overall. I really don't care about completion. Rams are just better. Matt Stafford's just the better quarterback. They have the better coach. And also, the Rams won this week. So I'll just take them inherently.
I would take Cleveland's weapons with a healthy OBJ. With a healthy OBJ, I take Cleveland's weapons. With a healthy OBJ.
OBJ is never healthy. He hasn't returned back to his 2013 self or whatever.
We'll see what happens week 2.
You would rather have Jarvis. So you're talking about like overall skill position weapons?
I'm talking
like
yes.
Including like Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt?
Yes.
I don't know. I can't even.
They have the best run game in football. And
they also
deepest,
the run game is also it's also the most replaceable part in football. Like I think
wouldn't say that.
What else? What else is more replaceable than run game?
I feel like you guys. Here's
the thing though. When you're the Browns and the Titans and the Ravens and the Niners, I feel like those run games are just above the rest. The Browns have the best run game in football, and I don't think
the Rams don't have to rely on it. The Browns have to rely on it. You can.
That's not a bad thing. Here's the thing.
Matt Stafford can throw the ball 50 times, and you can win games. You can't tell Baker Mayfield to throw the ball 50 times, and they're going to win.
But the run game is always going to work because they have the best O-line in football, and it's not close. I feel like
you guys argue over stupid stuff. Like these guys are literally on the same tier. They're back to back. Like I don't even care. Like
no, I care. I care.
Yeah.
Because I think the Rams are better, and I don't even think it's close.
It's definitely close.
But I don't think it is. I just think like they're considerably better.
They're both. How about we just end it like this? They're both better than the Packers.
Deal.
Okay.
That's a good.
Let's go to the Chargers and the Washington football team. This is the game I finished watching like right before this podcast. Feel bad for Fitzpatrick. Hopefully he can come back soon.
Yeah. Me too.
But I really liked what I saw from the Chargers. I was not a believer in the Chargers through the offseason. I do still think, once again, it's one game, but they did look pretty good. Staley looked like he is going to be able to run that defense a little better than I thought. The offense looked pretty good, especially against an elite defense like Washington. I think Herbert could have played a little better than he did. He had a few weird throws, a kind of a bad interception in the red zone. But Mike Williams, man, he looked really sharp. Great route running. He went off. I would, if he's out there in fantasy, definitely give him a pickup. I think for Washington, though, it was really weird. Terry McLaurin had like one target at halftime. They were really spreading the ball around no matter which quarterback was in. Terry ended up getting like 4 or 5 catches in the second half. But they used Diami Brown a lot. He only had one catch for like -2 yards, but he had like 2 different plays where he had like a first down catch and it was called back for a penalty. And he had like 4 or 5 charted targets. If you watch the game, he was really involved. So I would keep an eye out for him. Keenan Allen and the Chargers, basically, the Chargers offense looks like it's going to be good. The Chargers defense looks like it's going to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So, yeah. And Terry McLaurin's catch. Holy crap.
Oh, my God.
That catch was insane.
Reverse. Yeah, that was sick.
Oh, my God. That was insane. I thought it was picked.
That was insane.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't really watch this game a whole lot. Every time I watched it, it was just Antonio Gibson running the ball. So I'm not going to really comment on it a whole lot. But I will say just from the box score, doesn't look like Justin Herbert had a great game.
He was above average, I'd say.
Above average? Okay. I don't know.
I mean,
that's all I got.
The stats weren't really there. He didn't impress, I would say, but he was not like bad. He was above serviceable, I'd say. He had like I said, he had this one really bad interception, I thought. But other than that, he was making some damn good throws. On the last possession there, when the Chargers had the ball, for like the last I think it was last 6.5 minutes of the game or something like that. They were able to run the whole clock out. They were eating it on the first, second down, and they had probably 4 or 5 third down conversions where there was nothing open, and Herbert just dropped a dime, like a back shoulder dime. And Mike Williams was making catches. Jalen Guyton impressed the hell out of me. He was making great catches. That Chargers offense looked good.
Jalen Guyton, the guy who, duetted my TikTok when I said he was the most random wide receiver in the NFL. So it's pretty cool.
I remember that. Yeah, I think the Chargers definitely impressed me more than I thought. I thought Washington was going to win that game. And the moment Heineke came in, I definitely lost my mind, considering I'm a very big Taylor Heineke fan. And I think they should roll with Heineke, by the way, Washington. I know there's some rumors about them possibly signing RG3 or Cam or trading for Jimmy G. I would rock with Heineke. He knows the playbook. I think he outperformed Fitz. Fitz was not good at all. And I think that's just because of expectations. When Fitz has expectations, he is bad. He's always been bad with expectations. And I think Heineke's just straight out outperformed him. So I'm happy that they're rolling with him instead of possibly signing. So at least I hope they would. But at the end of the day, Chargers just outperformed him. Chase Young, by the way, was awful. Chase Young had one pressure, and that's it. And how ironic. The only person in college who locked him up, he got locked up by again. Rashawn Slater absolutely just destroyed him, just like he did in college, which is kind of funny and ironic. But yeah, it's kind of concerning a little bit that Chase Young, who's a generational edge rusher now, he's just a generational talented edge rusher, gets locked up again by the guy who locked him up in college. It's a bit concerning, but I still think Chase Young's going to be fine. I still think the defense is going to be fine. We'll see what happens with Washington. My eyes are definitely open now, and now I'm definitely thinking about leaning towards Dallas winning the division. Because I've always been on that Washington hype train. We'll see how Heineke does next week, but yeah, I'm gonna rock with Dallas by winning it.
All right, so we had to kick Tailgate out because we hate him. He's horrible. No, he had to go as always because he's super cool. He's too cool, guys. He has a big.
Yeah, he's better than all of us. Yeah.
So he had to go, but we're gonna finish this one off, and then we'll probably get another small episode out tomorrow. This will be coming out on Monday, and we'll get another small one out on Tuesday. And if we have time, we'll probably try to do maybe a predictions episode for week 2. But we were in the middle of the Washington game. Before we get to the next game, I just wanted to say, what are the odds you think they sign Cam Newton? Because Ron Rivera?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think it happens. I think, oh, man. Well,
like Ron Rivera, that was his old coach. But I think people forget that
they can't beef with him.
Yeah, didn't they choose like Teddy Bridgewater over him? Well, I mean, I guess Rivera was gone, but
Rivera was gone, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know if they will because Heineke's done a good job so far, but we'll see what happens. My guess is probably not, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happens.
You think? Everyone's probably seen when Cam got cut, he said like, I think I got cut because I would have been a distraction. I kind of agree with that. I think the only reason they cut him was because, like if you look at the Tua Fitzpatrick situation last year when they fully went with Tua after about like week 5 or 6 or whatever, he didn't perform too well. They had to go back to Fitzpatrick, and that had to have ruined his confidence, messed with his head a little bit. So, I mean, you got to think about like, if you put Mac Jones out there and maybe the first 2, 3, 4 weeks he doesn't perform well, it's like I think the fans would be like, we want Cam Newton, and that's going to mess with his head. And maybe they do go Cam Newton. It's kind of I kind of think they just cut Cam because they're like, all right, we got to let Mac Jones know that we have full 100%.
This is his team. This is his team.
So once I heard about that, I agreed with the cut. I was like, that made some sense to me.
Yeah. Let's
go to the Saints Packers right now with this one because I'm the only one in the world that called this. Obviously, I was like 8-6 or something with the game. Just like it was not a good week for predicting for me. But this one I got right, and I got clowned for it. You think the Saints are beating the Packers? Oh, Jameis Winston. I believed in him all year. Once again, just week one. So we'll see. But he looked good. No interceptions, 5 touchdowns. I do think, damn, we should have let Tailgate in on this one because I think Tailgate thought Winston wasn't good.
Yeah, he abandoned us. So, oh no.
Oh, but I wanted to I think Tailgate posted a video that said that Jameis Winston's performance was overrated and he didn't do anything. But nonetheless, Winston looked good. He may be being a little bit overhyped because there's people saying MVP, and I don't think they're joking. But he was good. Marquez Callaway. Actually, the one thing I was going to say is I don't understand. That's one game I have not gone back and watched. I've probably watched about half the games as of right now. Like, who the heck got catches on that team? Because if you look at they all had like 2 or 3 catches. Like Deontay Harris had 2, Jawan Johnson had 2 or 3, Callaway had like 1 or 2, Troutman I think maybe had 2. Like they all had like 1 to 3 catches. So it was super spread out. Kamara even had I think. But Jawan, I did watch the highlights, and Jawan Johnson looked good to me. He made some catches. He was 3 targets, 3 catches, like 20 yards and a touchdown or something like that. Maybe a deep 12 team or tight end league, 2 tight end league, something like that, maybe worth a look. But the one thing I will say, once again, I watched the highlights, which the highlights were like a 12-minute, one of those 12-minute YouTube videos where they show, it's not like a 3-minute highlight. It's just like, it's like a lot of the highlights. I liked how aggressive the Saints were to begin the game. They went for it on like 2 or 3 fourth downs, like in the midfield and like in the red zone, and it panned out. They were like 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 on fourth down conversions, and that's how they started out 17-0. They could have taken the conservative way, and it would have been 13-0 or 10-0, like with field goals and stuff. But that aggressiveness is what got them that 17-0 start. So I like that. And then for the Packers, I'm probably just taking everything you're going to say right now, but like relaxed, guys. The Packers are going to be fine. I'm kind of getting annoyed with the Aaron Rodgers is just throwing the game on purpose. No, he's not. No football player does that. The only one who does that is Adam Sandler in The Longest Yard. Guys, nobody in the NFL is throwing games. But the one thing I will say, buy low on Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers. They're all going to be fine. I will say I'm not as high on the Packers as a lot of people. I know Nico from Elite Takes had them winning the Super Bowl. A lot of people has them getting like the 1 or 2 seed. I had them at like 11-6, I want to say. But they're going to be fine. And the one thing I will say, though, about the Saints is originally I had them as a playoff team, and then I changed my mind when Michael Thomas,
yeah.
And then I went back as a playoff team because I saw how good Jameis Winston and Marquez Callaway were looking in preseason. I'm like looking at the roster, the coach, and I'm like, this team is going to be good. They're going to be like a 10 or 11 win team. So I think either for those 5, 6, 7 seeds, if I'm looking at it right now, it's either the 3 NFC West teams or 2 of them and the Saints. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't know if he just doesn't care or if he just struggled. Jameis Winston, by the way, the MVP hype. Let's calm down. I understand he had 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. Nice. I don't even think I know it's like early week 1, blah blah blah, but like I wouldn't put him in my top 5 MVP right now. I think Kyler performed better. I think Russ performed better. I'd say Patrick Mahomes as well. I would also probably say Matthew Stafford, and honestly, I would say Chandler Jones as well because Chandler Jones was sensational. But yeah, this Jameis Winston MVP hype. Let's calm down a bit.
No, yeah, I would say after week 1, I'd be like, okay, Jameis Winston can be like a serviceable top 15 quarterback. I don't know about an MVP year though, but I actually have my MVP candidates right here. I had 1. I ranked them for now. It's going to change every week, but I had 1 Mahomes, 2 Kyler Murray, 3 Tom Brady, 4 Russell Wilson, 5 Dak Prescott, 6 Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I forgot about Dak and Brady. Not gonna lie. Yeah, there was a ton of quarterbacks that performed pretty well, but Jameis did good. Jameis, good job. Let's calm down on the MVP hype, though. Let's calm down a bit.
I think maybe Deontay Harris might be worth a pickup if you got a free roster spot. I don't know. But let's go over to the Lions and the Niners. I'll let you start off with them.
So I don't really think it was as close of a game as maybe the score suggested. I thought the Niners kind of took a pretty big commanding lead, and yeah, the Lions had a nice little comeback. I really didn't think they were going to win that game. I thought maybe after that Debo fumble or whoever fumbled the ball, I'm pretty sure it was Debo.
Yeah, that was a bad fumble.
After that, but no, I still sat there and said no. The Niners are going to win this game. Now the Niners' future does scare me. They lost Jason Verrett. They lost Raheem Mostert for about 6-8 weeks. Jason Verrett was their only lockdown corner, and now he is gone. Their best cornerback is probably a 5th-round draft pick who they got, and I know that sounds really bad, but he was also really good week 1, like really good. Maybe the best rookie cornerback so far, because I don't know how Surtain did. I didn't really deep dive into any of that. But no, he's been great, but that just scares me for the future because I'm just thinking, who's going to cover D-Hop? Who's going to cover DK Metcalf? Who's going to cover Cooper Kupp? Like, I don't know. I'm scared for the Niners at this point. Like, obviously, as a Cardinals fan, I'm happy, but as a football fan, I'm like, I don't know what's going to go on with the Niners in the future. But anyway, week 1, they had a good game against the Lions. Jimmy G did well. Sure, it's against the Lions, but he still made some very nice deep ball throws that I haven't really seen in a while from Jimmy G, because a lot of it is just kind of check downs and then just a lot of short passes, and like the yak guys do the rest because that team is just full of yak guys. Brandon Ayuk kind of disappeared apparently.
What was up with
that? My friend Ryan, who's a RJ Sports, I asked him about it. I was like, dude, what happened to Brandon Ayuk? And he told me, he said like apparently like something happened with like him and Kyle Shanahan. And apparently they just didn't. Apparently Trent Sherfield is like the best football player ever, because Kyle Shanahan is just in love with him. And I know who Trent Sherfield is. He was on the Cardinals. He was unbelievable in special teams. I'm upset we let him go, but at the same time, the Cardinals have so many weapons. It's kind of hard to give a guy like that on the roster. Like when you have D-Hop, Kirk, Green, Rondell Moore. Like when you have those guys, it's kind of hard to keep a guy like him on the roster. But I'm glad he's doing well with the Niners. He definitely deserves it because he was phenomenal in the preseason. But no, to cap it all off, good job, Niners. I'm scared for your future. Even if Trey Lance starts and he performs well, I'm scared for that secondary now because I don't know what they're going to do. I heard Jimmy Ward's going to come play corner, but is Jimmy Ward going to cover guys like D-Hop, DK, and Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, so on the Niners side, pick up Eli Mitchell, Elijah Mitchell, Eli Mitchell. I don't know what was up with the Trey Sermon healthy scratch before the game. That was surprising to me.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, even if he's going to get involved in the future, though, I don't think they're just going to take Mitchell out of the script. Who knows? Maybe it becomes another 3-man committee with JaMychal Hasty, but Mitchell looked good. He's definitely worth a pickup for fantasy. Feel bad for Mostert. He's so injury prone, man. Like
he's always hurt.
Lasted two carries, and he's just out for 8 weeks already. I feel bad for him. And then Verrett as well. I don't know what's up with Richard Sherman with that whole thing, but maybe they should take a look at signing him again. Something they need something there. That's those
they signed Drake Kirkpatrick. If you don't know who Drake Kirkpatrick is, he had a PFF coverage grade of, I believe, 25. Drake Kirkpatrick is very, very bad. He was on the Cardinals last year. He was awful. So I understand he'll be there like cornerback 3, but that's still really bad. You need to find somebody. And you need to, honestly, at this point, you might want to trade for someone because Jason Verrett is out for the season and he's aging too. I'm pretty sure he's like 30, 31. So if I were the Niners, I'd look for someone.
Yeah, I mean, that was someone I thought should look at Xavier Howard when he wanted to trade. But yeah, so on the Lions side though, I actually literally for no reason I predicted them at 5-12 before the year. Ooh. I just thought they could win sneakily win some games. I like Campbell. And after that first game, they might have been getting killed at first, but they had a nice little run in the last quarter. So in my opinion, this team can win 5 or 6 sneaky games. In my opinion, they're not a good team. That might be a stretch, but I don't know. I think their offense is not as bad as people think. They definitely have a crappy wide receiver core, but it's just a bunch of sleepers, bunch of sneaky good guys. I think Tyrell Williams can make some good catches. Quintez Cephas made some good catches.
How did Amon-Ra do?
Who?
How did Amon-Ra do?
I don't know.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, I'm good to check.
I know he had. Yeah. Hold on. What's the other one? What's his name? Hold on. Lions wide receivers. Is it Khalif Raymond? Khalif Raymond. He looked good. Khalif Raymond looked good. He looked like a big part of the offense. Obviously, TJ Hawkinson, what a stud. Dude is a top 3 fantasy tight end, I think. And Jamal Williams looked good to me. So did DeAndre Swift. I would like to gloat my boat again. I said Jamal Williams was going to be like a 50-50 split with Swift. And it's just 1 week, but they both had like 9 carries and 11 targets each or something like that. Like they both had super similar stats. Swift played a little more percentage of the snaps, but they were like equally involved. But I don't know. I think Campbell is going to be successful. I think they can win 5 games. And if they win 5 games this year, that's a successful year for them. I think they should
though.
Huh?
I don't think they should though.
Yeah, that's one of those things you should lock up and see. Yeah, that's something the Colts would do.
They need a new quarterback. Like I'm sorry,
They're going to screw themselves out of the top 5 on accident.
I don't think they will. I think they're still going to get a top 3 pick. Take a quarterback. You can cut Jared Goff after this year. That's what I would do. By the way, Amon-Ra St. Brown had 2 catches for 23 yards, so he wasn't like great, but he was whatever.
Yeah, it was kind of like he spread the ball around a lot.
He did, yeah. Hawkinson was great though, of course.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to look up Khalif Raymond's stats because this is another game I watched, and Khalif Raymond was just kind of all over the place. 4 targets, 3 catches, 50 yards, and then a carry for 10 yards. I don't know who he was before the game, but he looked good to me. Let's go to the Colts and the Seahawks. I was at this game. Man, there was like so many different emotions going on here. I'll start with the Seahawks. Their offense looked like a top 5 offense in the league. Chris Carson looked like a top 5 running back in the league. He's not top 5, he's top 10, but he looked very good. He was very hard to bring down. It seemed like every time he touched the ball, he's getting at least 6 or 7 yards. He looked like a stud. Russell Wilson looked like an MVP. Tyler Lockett, holy crap. His second touchdown was about a freaking 80-yard bomb right before the half ended. His first touchdown was, I don't know if you guys see it, but like he's running like to the left and like it seemed like it's like a corner. He's running to the left and Wilson throws it like way to the right. And it was like a Terry McLaurin catch. Like some way he tracked that down and caught it. Their chemistry is ridiculous. That offense is dangerous right now. And I know you don't root for them, but I kind of hope they can keep it that way to make football more fun instead of start sucking at the second half again. But as for the Colts, I'll start off saying Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines both looked amazing. Taylor is so hard to bring down. Every time Nyheim Hines touches the ball, it's electric. He's so shifty. It's like watching Kyler Murray run around with the ball to me. Dude, I'm telling you, he's so slippery. He doesn't move with a little quick feet like Kyler, but it's fun to watch. As for our offensive issues, don't blame Carson Wentz. I'm not gonna be sitting here all year saying, "Oh, it's not Wentz's fault." Like if we start sucking, I'll definitely be the guy to admit when Wentz sucks if he does. But Wentz was a fine quarterback. He didn't do anything wrong, really. I don't think he was really asked to do much because we were very run heavy. Even when we were down by 2 scores, we were very run heavy. That's just how we are. Our offensive line was horrible. And I don't understand. Obviously our left tackle was out, Eric Fisher. I don't even know who our left tackle was, but he was horrible. Coming from the left side, Wentz was getting just hit. I saw the stats early. This dude was hit.
Nelson was out too, wasn't he?
Nelson played, but he was it wasn't like the real Quentin Nelson, but he played. But it just Wentz would drop back and he'd have like a second and a half and he'd get hit. He had no time. And honestly, I don't really think receivers were getting open. Zach Pascal looked like a stud though. He had some nice catches. But Carson Wentz did not look anything worse than serviceable. I think in my opinion, he looked better than Phillip Rivers was for us last year. It was just the fact that he was getting killed. He looked actually super solid, like scrambling around, like he avoided a lot of pressure that Phillip Rivers would not have avoided. So I mean, looking at it after week one, Wentz should be better than Phillip Rivers. I'm just hoping we get Eric Fisher back soon so our offensive line can stop sucking because it was horrible.
Yeah, when's he back?
I don't know. I know he's practicing now. I thought
That's
it was
good.
like maybe week 4, week 5. So, but I could be wrong.
And against the Seahawks specials too, so that's a little bit concerning. But I didn't fully watch this game. I just watched the highlights. Russell Wilson of MVP again. We'll see if he can keep up with consistency. Obviously, as a Cardinals fan, I like him to do his normal thing. But as a football fan, of course, I want the Seahawks to succeed. As a football fan, I want all teams to succeed. But unfortunately, that's not how the NFL works. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see if Russell Wilson can keep up this pace because as of right now, I don't even know what to say about this division. I just don't. I really don't. The Rams looked unbelievable. The Cardinals might have been the best team of the entire week one. The Seahawks look great, and even though the Niners had some injuries and they still beat down the Lions, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. But no, anyway, Seattle looked great. Chris Carson looked unbelievable. Hopefully the Colts can figure out the O-line issues within the next few weeks with Eric Fisher being gone. Hopefully he can come back sooner than expected.
Yeah, that's when we see success is when our O-line is performing. Because watching that game, our defense, I don't know what to think about because the defense looked good at times. We had a few, 3 or 4 stops in a row where I was like, this is a good defense. But then they'd give up big plays every once in a while. But that's also how, it's a great offense, Seahawks offense. I don't know what to think about that. And we also had Xavier Rhodes out. But the Colts offense did not look good at all. And it was really solely because of the O-line. Because the running backs looked great. Carson Wentz looked at least above average, in my opinion. But we couldn't do anything. We were stagnant. I feel like we crossed the 50-yard line maybe twice in the second half, 2 or 3 times in the first half. It was just bad. But let's go to the Eagles and the Falcons if you want to start that one off.
Oh man. So Jalen Hurts was very, very good. And as someone who's never really liked Jalen Hurts, I'll give him credit. He was very, very solid. One of the best quarterbacks of the week. I still don't think he's going to be the guy. I know I'm going to get hate for this in the comments. I really don't care. I still don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy. He had a very good game. He had a very, very, very good game against arguably the worst team of the entire week. The Falcons looked awful. Oh my gosh, why are you not throwing the ball to Kyle Pitts? Why are you not throwing the ball to Calvin Ridley? Why are you just giving Mike Davis the football? Give your number 4 overall pick, the best tight end prospect we have ever seen, the most versatile offensive football player we have seen in so long. Give him the football. Why aren't you giving him the football? I'm pretty sure after the first 3 quarters, he had 1 catch for 1 yard. What are you doing? Arthur Smith, I get that you like to be a run-heavy head coach. You can't be running the ball on 3rd and 8. You don't have Derrick Henry anymore. You have Mike Davis. This isn't going to work. Get your playmakers the ball. I don't understand what's going on. And with their defense, I don't even know where to start. Their cornerbacks suck. Their best cornerback is maybe A.J. Terrell, and that is bad. I don't know how Richie Grant did. I don't even know if he started. I'd imagine Richie Grant is starting. He was a very, very good prospect, and I'm pretty sure he was the second safety taken, but he was a second-round pick. The Falcons looked at the worst team of all of week 1. I will give Jalen Hurts credit. Jalen Hurts looked much better throwing the football than he did last year. He was the worst. He was the least accurate quarterback in football last year, and it wasn't really particularly close. So I'll give Jalen Hurts credit. He had a very good game. Devontae Smith had a very good game. But do I think Jalen Hurts is going to continue to do this? No, I don't.
I pretty much agree with the stuff you said. I see the Eagles getting a little bit overrated a lot just because of that. And props to them. They look great. Hurts looked good. Smith looked good. Their running backs look good. But the Falcons suck. I think the Falcons are a bottom 3 team in the league.
I've been saying this. No, everyone called me crazy for saying the Falcons are going to get 3 wins. And I said, just watch this.
Yeah.
I don't think Arthur Smith is going to work. Their defense is awful and no one's talking about it. Yes, they have some nice pieces, but I just can't see it working. And so far, I'm right, I guess.
Yeah, I was just surprised with the way that I know that Smith is run heavy. I know Mike Davis had 15 carries, 3 catches. But I was like surprised because like Ridley had 4 catches, Russell Gage had 0 catches, Pitts had 3 catches. I'm like, what? Matt Ryan had 160 passing yards. Like what? And this is one of the games that I didn't watch yet. I'm gonna get to it, but I was like, what? I mean, what the hell are they doing on offense? Like this is usually a pass heavy team that's pretty successful in the pass game. I know last year they tried to run the ball a lot under what was their coach last year? Dan Quinn, and then he got fired.
Dan Quinn, yeah.
But then I'm thinking of the interim guy, Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris.
That might be. Real quick, though, before you continue, I just want to say this real quick about that game. Jaylen Mayfield, an offensive lineman that they drafted, he's a third round rookie. He had a PFF grade of 1. He had a 1 PFF grade.
Wow.
1.0. And that scale goes from 1 to 100. He had the lowest possible grade PFF could give a player. He allowed 3 sacks, 5 pressures, 3 penalties against a nobody. This wasn't Fletcher Cox. I don't even know who this guy was, but he feasted on him. And the guy who he feasted on he had the highest grade out of any defensive lineman. That's how bad Jaylen Mayfield was. So that's another concern. The offensive line isn't good, which I'm sorry. I just need to get that out of the way because I've never seen that before. I've been watching football. I've been using PFF for years. I've never seen a player with a PFF grade of 1. Like, that's ridiculous.
That's bad. Jesus.
That's horrible. That's bad.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it was more of a product of how horrible the Falcons defense was, how weird the Falcons offense was. And maybe the Eagles being a little bit underrated because, I mean, I've seen 3-14 predictions and stuff like that. Maybe they're a 5-6 win team, maybe 7, but I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, they're the division winners." Pump the brakes. Week 1 against a crappy team.
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
So, but I would maybe in a deeper league, I might look at Kenneth Gainwell as a pickup, but I don't know. I don't really see this offense being as successful as it was this week in the future. So, let's go over to the Texans Jaguars. Super surprising to me. I did not expect this at all. You're doing when you're doing predictions and picking stuff like game scores and stuff, and you know there's always the lock of the week. Considered this one as the Jaguars beating the Texans. My takeaways, first of all, on the Jaguars side, Urban Meyer. I was never big on the signing or on the Urban Meyer hire. Didn't look good. I thought it was really weird. James Robinson only had 8 touches. That kind of concerns me a little bit. May have just been the game script. I wouldn't worry about it too much yet if you have him in fantasy, but that was definitely a little bit concerning. And I think all the Jaguars wide receivers are going to be some good fantasy guys this year. On the Texans side, I guess Tyrod Taylor looked good. Still, though, I will say I think this Texans team is still a 1-2 win team. Could be like the Jaguars last year where they win 1 game and they lose the rest of them. I don't know. It's like they were 4-12 last year with Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt. There's no way they win that many games. Even though there's an extra week in the season, I don't think they get up to 4 wins with a way worse roster, even if Tyrod Taylor is playing decent. David Culley, I still hate the hire. I don't care that they put up 37 this week. David Culley is not going to pan out, in my opinion. But I would like to brag on Brandon Cooks because he was one of my highest sleepers of fantasy. I drafted him in 6 of my 7 leagues, started him in 4 of those 6 leagues this week. He did great, 18 fantasy points for PPR. And there was a lot of people that thought he'd be a bust just because he was on the Texans, but I was like, he's going to rack up targets. But
yeah. So Texans aren't a very good football team. They're going to get maybe one more win. And to be honest, I think they're just going to lose the rest of their games. We need to stop overhyping this one win. Calm down. Come back into reality. The Texans are a very bad football team. They won 3 games with Deshaun Watson last year, and now they don't have him. And sure, Tyrod Taylor, good job. Pat on the back. Good job. That's the only win that they're going to get this year. Maybe they'll get one more if they're lucky. They're still getting the number 1 overall pick. David Coley, fun fact, I don't know if you know this. Someone called me racist because I said David Coley wasn't going to work.
Okay.
I was, oh my God, it was so stupid. And then on that same video, I said, out of all the coaches that got hired, I said Robert Saleh would be the best, but apparently I'm racist even though I said that. I don't know. People are weird, but anyway, the Texans are still an awful football team. They'll get one more win at best. Trevor Lawrence didn't even necessarily look bad. Sorry, I keep coughing, by the way, for everyone watching. I have super bad allergies right now.
He's got COVID.
Yeah, I got COVID, unfortunately. I'm going to die next week. But no, Jaguars are not a good football team. I think people have been overhyping them when they say that they're going to get 7, 6, 8 wins. Like, I think people needed to calm down about that. They're still not a very good football team. I understand they have Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence automatically – he looked talented. You look at the box score, it may not have been great. If you watch the game, he made some very, very good throws. Trevor Lawrence is talented. There's no denying that. When you have a rookie quarterback throwing the ball 51 times, it's not usually going to work out every single time. And James Robinson, they just didn't really give him the ball, which makes sense because the Texans took such a commanding lead right away that they had to throw the ball. So at the end of the day, Texans aren't going to win any more games. Trevor Lawrence is still talented. Calm down. He's going to be fine.
All right, so we got 5 more games to get through. I say we can speed through these ones. Let's go with the Vikings and the Bengals, and I'll let you start on that one.
Joe Burrow looks sensational. I mean, there's nothing else you can really say. He looked great. Didn't complete one pass last year beyond 30 yards, and he threw an absolute dime to Jamar Chase, by the way, who was the best rookie receiver of week 1, 100 yards and a touchdown. He was great. Even though they won that game, the Bengals are still not a good team. I think that's kind of a fluke game. The Vikings are still a playoff contender in my eyes, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Jamar Chase looked good. Joe Mixon looked great. Joe Burrow looked pretty good. Was definitely very surprised with one because this was my actual lock of the week, the Vikings over the Bengals. So that was weird, but I do agree that I think this is a little bit of a fluke game for the Bengals. I think the defense is a lot worse than they were in week 1. And I do think also, I know the Vikings had between 10 to 13 penalties, big time penalties on offense. Their O-line was a little concerning. I'll say that, but I do think the Vikings figure it out. I would still say that the game's a little concerning, but I think they figure it out. And then I think the Bengals, the offense definitely looked pretty good. I just think the defense is going to be worse in the future. The defense got bailed out with penalties and stuff. So I mean, I've heard a lot of things like, oh, the Bengals can contend for the division. They can contend for the playoffs. Pump the brakes, man. My prediction for them was 3-14 before the season. They do look a lot better than that. Because I kind of bought into the Burrow and Chase struggles. So I mean, there's still no way they get more than 6 wins to me. So no. I pumped the brakes on them, and I would still say the Vikings are playoff contenders if they can figure it out. Yeah. But let's go to the Bears and the Rams, if you want to lead that off.
The Rams are the best team in the West. I think that's officially confirmed. Matthew Stafford looked unreal in that game. Those 2 touchdown passes he had were masterpieces, especially when the Van Jefferson. I'm pretty sure it was the first throw of his – was it the first throw?
It was one of the first few plays. I'm not sure.
Yeah, one of the very first few plays, and he just throws an absolute dime to Van Jefferson. It was beautiful. And then he did the same thing to a Cooper Kupp. So Matthew Stafford's the real deal. Sean McVay, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. They're the best team in that division. Justin, sorry about that. Justin Fields, allergies are killing me. Justin Fields, you need to play. Matt Nagy, put in Justin Fields. He needs to play. Andy Dalton is not it. And if you looked at the Bears sidelines when Justin Fields scored the touchdown, they were losing their mind. Just put him in already. I understand you kept a promise. Promises don't mean jack when you're in the NFL. I learned this. You know why? We had Josh Rosen as our quarterback. We said, hey, Josh, you are a future. You know what we did next year? We traded him and we drafted Kyler Murray. Promises don't mean anything in the NFL. Just because you keep a promise to a guy doesn't mean that you're going to keep it. Put in Fields. It's the right choice. You put in Fields, you keep your job. If not, you're going to get fired. And honestly, I'd fire you just for playing Fields week 1 at all.
Yeah, I thought it was they clearly want to get Fields in the game. They kept using him in the red zone and stuff like that. Like, just put him in. Like, I will say
Just
Dalton
put him in
wasn't
already.
Dalton wasn't horrible. The defense, in my opinion, lost this game for the Bears. The secondary was
agree.
horrible. They do have a great front seven. The secondary without Kyle Fuller, it was not good. And I will cut him a little bit of slack just because the Rams, I think, have a great offense. Matthew Stafford looks like an MVP candidate. Glad to see this because I've been hyping up the Rams all offseason, been hyping up Matthew Stafford. There's been some Stafford haters. Some Rams are overrated. They're going 10-7, 9-8. Like, I think the Rams are a 12-13 win team. I think they look great. Their defense is great. I think the Rams are probably the third best team in the league right now. But for the Bears, I think they could be better with Fields. They struggled a little bit against a great defense like the Rams, but I do think their secondary part on the defense is kind of the one that lost the game. I think David Montgomery looked amazing. He looked really good against a great defense like the Rams. He went off.
Yeah, just echo everything he said, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Panthers Jets. So this is also one of the few games I haven't watched yet.
I did watch this game.
Yeah, I watched the highlights, which was like a 15-minute highlight reel. The Jets' offensive line sucks. I'll say that. They're horrible. They just lost Mekhi Becton for like maybe not all year, but majority of the year. So Zach Wilson is going to be struggling. It's going to be dangerous, man. It's going to be dangerous for him not to get an injury scramble around. CMC is back to RB1 in fantasy. It's like he has the highest floor out of any fantasy player ever. It's insane. Also on the Jet side, though, Corey Davis, absolute dog. I realized how good of a fantasy player he was going to be after all my drafts. So I'm kind of mad I don't have him in any of my leagues, but he's going to be a great fantasy option all year. Zach Wilson loves him. And I also would take away, I think the Panthers defense is a little bit underrated. I know the Jets offense just kind of sucks, but the Panthers D is really young and really underrated. I think they're top half of the league.
Maybe that's.
I just think they're better than people think they are. I mean, because
definitely better than people think they are, but I think it's a bit too young to say top 16. I think they're getting there. Maybe next year. But yeah. What I will say, Zach Wilson, considering everything that happened and considering the situation, he is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. He is going to be a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. He's a much better quarterback than Sam Darnold. He's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I know I just said that multiple times because I just need to get that through your head. He's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. Zach Wilson's arm talent is unbelievable, considering with everything that he had to work with, his terrible offensive line. He got sacked about 6 times against the Panthers. Okay, that's actually a bit insulting because the Panthers pass rush is honestly underrated because of Hassan Reddick, Brian Burns, Derek Brown. They got a good pass rush. But no, Zach Wilson was great in my opinion. I think him and Trevor, I think they were both good. I think all the rookie quarterbacks were good. I know Mac Jones was statistically the best. If you would have asked me who had the best performance overall, I'd probably say Trevor. And then I don't know. But either way, Zach Wilson was great in my opinion. Considering the situation, he is going to love Corey Davis. I think that's going to be such a great combo for a long time. Unfortunately, Mekhi Becton is out for the year. So basically, we don't really know. But I'd imagine he's probably going to be out for the majority of the year. Hopefully, he can come back because he really needs him, man. But Zach Wilson, I'm sorry. You're in Sam Darnold's situation again. But what I will say is he's going to be better than Sam Darnold was. And sorry, Zach Wilson. But no, on to the Panthers. I don't think Sam Darnold was great, and I don't think he was bad. I thought he was okay. But reminder, this is against the Jets defense, and he played okay. That's what scares me a little bit. I think he's going to be a mediocre, maybe around about the 20 range, like 19 to 22 range. I think he's going to be around there towards the end of the year. And honestly, I don't think that's good enough. I would replace him soon, and I would get someone else, maybe in the draft. I know you may have other big needs and stuff, but honestly, I mean, if you really want to contend for a Super Bowl in a few years, with where you could possibly get, is this the guy you want? Because this isn't the guy I would
want. Okay, let's go. We got 2 more games. We'll go to Miami, New England. This is the last game that I haven't watched yet, but Mac Jones, from what I hear, looked like a solid quarterback. I've seen a lot of good grades for him. Nelson Aguilar with like 70 yards and a touchdown.
Maybe he's actually good
on my fantasy bench, but like he looked good. Jacoby Myers, I think, had like 6 catches for like 44 yards or something like that. Both of those 2 guys were heavily involved. On the Dolphins side, Gesicki, no catches, 2 targets, no catches. That was a little weird, but they involved Jalen Waddle a lot. He scored, had a lot of yards. I think it was like 40 or 50 yards and a touchdown. And then Devontae Parker had like 7 targets, 4 catches for like 80 yards. So they were a little involved. I wouldn't say Tua silenced the doubters, but he was definitely a serviceable quarterback.
No.
But
Tua did not.
No, that's what I've been hearing.
Hold on.
I've been hearing.
People actually are saying that. People are saying
that. No, I've seen multiple videos where they're like, they go, Jalen Hurts and Tua silence the doubters. It's like, Jalen Hurts had a great week, so I can understand that. But like, what did Tua
I can understand that.
What did Tua do? Like,
was average.
Mm-hmm.
If Tua would have performed like Jalen, those 2 aren't comparable. Hurts played much better than Tua.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh, freaking Dolphins fans, man. But no, do you want to keep going?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, that's ridiculous. And I think Tua could be a serviceable quarterback, but some Dolphins fan tried to tell me that he had a higher ceiling than Josh Allen.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Tua is a serviceable quarterback in my eyes. He's not going to elevate this team to the next level, but that's a problem that we'll have to worry about in the future. Let's talk about the game, though. The Dolphins played great. Actually, I wouldn't even say they both played good. These 2 teams are virtually the same, except I think the Dolphins have better weapons. I think the Patriots have a better offensive line. These 2 teams are so similar, in my opinion. Similar coaching, similar scheme, similar team, similar quarterback play. These 2 teams are so similar, but Dolphins got the win. I did have them winning this game, so happy I got that right, because it feels like everyone was calling me an idiot and saying the Patriots are going to win. And I just had a feeling with Gilmore out that the Dolphins are going to win this game. But good job, Tua. You got the win. But if people are actually, I'm sorry, I wasn't going to slander Tua this much. I was actually going to say like he did a good job. But the fact that people are saying he silenced the haters, like enough is enough. He did not silence. My narrative is not changed about him. And people think I hate Tua. I don't hate Tua. I think Tua is an average quarterback. That's why I don't see elite in Tua. What kind of elite traits does Tua have? He doesn't have a strong arm. He doesn't have mobility, and he's not even that big too. Like he's not that mobile, and he's not very big. He's like 6 feet tall. Like Baker is more mobile than he is, and at least Baker has a cannon. Like Tua, the only really big thing I see with Tua is like his pocket presence, and maybe like his ability to read the defense. And even then, it's like, okay, cool. Like physical traits, like there's not really much there. So I wouldn't say he silenced the haters, but no, Tua played well. So did Mac Jones. Dolphins got the win. Good job.
All right, last game: Broncos and Giants. We'll start on the Giants side. The Giants' offensive line is horrible, by far the worst in the league. I've seen multiple clips where they literally, like, I think it was, might have been Andrew Thomas, I could be wrong, but he literally just didn't get up out of his stance and let some dude come and sack Daniel Jones in like 0.02 freaking seconds. They're horrible. Jaylen Jones also sucks. Finally hit 40 career turnovers. I would relax on Saquon. I would relax. I'm wearing the garbage can Dan shirt though too. He sucks. I would relax on Saquon though. He was limited from the ACL injury. However, here's the thing though. I have two different sides. So first, like as an NFL player, relax. He's going to be fine. As a fantasy player, I'm worried because I was never high on him in general. And yes, he was limited in the first week, didn't get as many carries. I don't know. It's going to be hard to succeed with Daniel Jones as your quarterback with the worst offensive line in the league. I don't really see him doing that much in fantasy. I'm not saying trade him right now. You probably got to wait and see, but I just personally am not a fan. But as an NFL player, I feel bad for him because he's not going to be able to do stuff. He can't do stuff, just the stuff he's capable of. On the Broncos side, I feel bad for Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully he comes back soon. He had potential to be a huge breakout player. Should be back in like 6 to 8 weeks, I think I saw. Definitely pick up Tim Patrick, one of the most underrated receivers in the league, with Jeudy going down. But the Broncos looked good. I think yes, it's just week one, but I do think it proved that the Broncos and the Giants suck, but the Broncos, I think, have a chance to contend for the playoffs. I wish Tailgate was here, man. Why did we not talk about this with Tailgate? God.
Oh, man. Yeah, so, God, my allergies are so bad. So everything I said about the Broncos was pinpoint accurate. Their defense is great. They're even without Bradley Chubb, they still dominate. Now I understand it's the Giants' offensive line. They still dominated, and they don't really have like their two best pass rushers, Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. Von Miller was great, but he had like 2.5 sacks, and they didn't have Bradley Chubb. Now imagine if Bradley Chubb is there, Daniel Jones probably would have died. The Broncos defense lived up to every single bit of expectation I had, and this is how I said the Broncos are going to win football games. They're not going to blow you away with scoring 30 points a game. No, the Broncos are going to score anywhere from 17 to 23 points a game, and their defense is going to allow anywhere from 10 to like 17 points a game. This is how the Broncos are going to win football games, and I know it's only week one, but everything I said about them, I've been spot on. So happy about that. Giants suck. I can't believe Giants fans actually think they're going to win the division. You're out of your mind. Your team isn't good. Your offensive line sucks. Daniel Jones sucks. I feel so bad for Saquon. Kadarius Toney, he just wasn't really used that much, which is weird because I was expecting him to have a bigger day than Rondell Moore. And Rondell Moore, now he didn't do anything crazy with the Cardinals, but he was good. I'm pretty sure he had he had a really nice yak play off a screen pass where that's what we're mainly going to be using him for is those like screen passes, just so because he's a playmaker, just get the ball in his hands and let him do his thing with Rondell Moore. And that's the same with Kadarius Toney, except he's better at it. But wow, it did not work. Like, I don't know what they were thinking with that. I don't know why they didn't like let him loose more. But anyway, defense. Why were people saying this was why were people saying this defense was top 10? How is this defense top 10? Like, it has some nice pieces, but this defense is not top 10. Teddy Bridgewater just walked all over you. I knew the Broncos would win this game, and I didn't really think it was going to be close. Like, I didn't think it was because I've been so high on Denver for so long, and Denver's lived up to every single point of the expectations. And unfortunately, Jerry Jeudy got hurt. Hopefully, he can come back soon. I actually read a report saying he's only gone for about 4 to 6 weeks, so that's good to hear. Maybe it could be sooner because it feels like every time someone says like 4 to 6 weeks, it always feels like it's closer to 4 than the 6. So that's good to hear. Hopefully Jerry Jeudy can come back healthy. But yeah, Broncos, you lived up to my expectations. And if the Broncos make the playoffs, every single one of you guys that hated on me and disrespected me for saying that they're going to go to the playoffs, I'm going to go after you so hard. You have no idea.
All right, well, I think we're coming up around like an hour and a half, so this might be the longest podcast we have done.
Yes.
We're going to wrap it up here. Hopefully we'll have one coming out tomorrow with some week one takeaways that you guys have commented on our social media that we will talk about, but we're going to end it there. Go follow us on all platforms, and we'll see you.
So.